Report, your home for everything Akron athletics.
Welcome back. Now we are only a 30-minute program, so that means we might miss some news around the MAC.
To fix that, we have Brian Bielko with this week's MAC update.
Hey guys, I'm here in the control room for your MAC update of the week. Last week, the MAC turned out some impressive performances in both men's and women's basketball. The men's MAC players of the week were Maurice Nador from Ohio University and John Simons from Central Michigan. Maurice averaged 24 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks in the victories. Simons led the Chippewas to 2 crucial conference wins over Buffalo and Eastern Michigan. Sidney King from Akron and Shaw Sweeney from Eastern Michigan also dominated the floor, lifting them to MAC players of the week for the women's basketball. King racked up 24 points. Sweeney returned to her Freshman of the Year award form by leading the Eagles to 2 wins over Miami and Toledo. The standings for the men's basketball is a tight race in both divisions, with Kent leading the East, followed by Bowling Green, and finally Akron in third. The West leader is Central Michigan, followed by Western Michigan, and the MAC women's basketball is equally as close of a race, with Ohio University leading the East division with Akron and Buffalo on their heels. Western Michigan is leading the West, with the Ball State not trailing far behind. This is Brian Bielko reporting from the control room. Back to you.
Well, with all this MAC news, we certainly need to analyze the latest news around our Akron athletic programs. At the debate desk, a familiar face, Sartaj Ojala, discusses the topics with Ben Jeanette, along with Elliot Georgiadis, to conduct the discussion.
Well, first let me say I like all 4 of our freshmen. I think they're really good players. I think Antono, Noah, BJ, and Aaron Jackson are really good players. So if I don't start them, I can't get them any minutes. It's, I'm over there like in distress because I got 11 guys and they're all good players. And they're all on the verge of being disgruntled because they don't play as much as they want. So I have to figure out ways innovatively to make sure that good players get minutes without losing games. Like that's hard. I want to go up and down more so that I can use all 11. But we're more of a half-court team than we are a full-court team. So it puts me in a tough position.
Hello everyone, welcome to our new segment, Full Court Press. I'm Elliot Georgiadis, and alongside me is Sartaj Ojala and Ben Jeanette. Here we will be discussing the latest sports topics concerning the University of Akron athletics, so let's get started. Gentlemen, we saw a comment made by Zips coach Keith Gambrot concerning the game on January 27th against Ball State. Do you agree with what he said, that players should be getting equal playing time and that it should be a priority of the coaches? So Ben, let's start with you.
I absolutely don't agree with this comment at all. I don't understand why you would mess with a cohesive starting 5 and start putting guys that are used to starting on the bench and then taking bench players off the bench and putting them into the starting 5. Take a look at Reggie McAdams. He had, 30-plus points off the bench the other night. Who's to say if you put him in that starting lineup that he's going to have that same production? Why take those 30 points off the bench when you need that coming off the bench?
And the same thing goes for when you're talking about people that you need to take out of the starting lineup when they're just having a cold streak. Noah Robotham started off great this season, but then all of a sudden he's missing a lot of threes, missing a lot of shots. That sort of production you need to take out and give him a little bit of a breather. But since Gambrot wants to get him some more experience, some more playing time, it's hurting the team overall. Now, the team is doing good this season, but what have we heard from Keith Gambrot? That they're consistently inconsistent. It's because of him really tampering with the starting lineup that is really causing that inconsistency. And we're only that him sticking with a really good starting 5 is going to keep that going.
I have a question. I completely agree. I think team chemistry is really important for a team to be successful, but at the same time, we lost our star player this season. So you know what, I think Coach Gambrot almost needs to be doing that. So in situations like that, we can't have someone fill that spot when we lose a player.
It's a good problem to have when you have so many talented players on your roster, but one of the things is this. If you have someone on a hot streak, you keep with them. If you have a starting 5 that's getting those fast breaks, blocking shots, contesting shots consistently, you need to stick with that starting 5. One of the things that I saw was Pat Forsyth. He's really not getting enough time, and instead they're giving more time to Isaiah Johnson, as it seems like throughout the season. And Johnson in the Ball State game only had 1 rebound. A center should not be only averaging 1 rebound.
Well, here's Pat Forsyth. He's shooting, 56% from the floor. You talked about one of their best players, probably one of the best players in the league, as Coach Gambrot pointed to. I get that. But here you have Pat Forsyth filling that role perfectly, shooting 56% from the floor. There should never be a thought of taking him out of the starting lineup and putting Isaiah Johnson in for him. I get it that, Pat still might have been feeling some concussion-type symptoms. But if he's healthy, let him play. You need his production on the starting 5.
And one more quick point with this is that with really tampering with the starting lineup, one of the biggest things that's really hard to do in college basketball is having bench points. Players coming off the bench and scoring. In Ball State, Akron got 27 bench points to Ball State's 11. That's hard to find in the college basketball, and if you can find that, you're going to have a pretty good team. And messing with that, it's only going to spell doom.
No, you get to the MAC tournament, and it's nice that you can say, like, well, it's the regular season, we can experiment, mixing and matching guys in and out, but then you're like, all right, MAC tournament, you're my starting five, you're coming off the bench. You have all of that, you have all those guys coming off the bench, but what's to say that it's going to be that cohesive if they're not, participating together?
And, it sort of goes to the mentality, too. Players know that they're going to be starting in the starting lineup, and then when you all of a sudden pull them out, you're really halting their development, halting their hot streak. And once again, if he keeps experimenting like that, we don't know how the season's going to end.
All right, you guys have both made some really great points, and we'll just kind of have to see how Coach Dambrot keeps working the team in that way. But let's talk about the outcome of that game. The Zips outlasted the Cardinals, winning 59-47. Pat Forsyth led the Zips in scoring with 17 points and 14 rebounds. Guys, what did you take away from that Zips 12-point win? Sartaj, let's start with you. Well,
you just said it yourself. They outlasted Ball State. They should not have outlasted Ball State. They should have easily floored them, to be honest. One of the things that I saw when we were at the game, Ben, is in the first half, they were just out-physicaled. Ball State had them where they wanted them. They could easily score in the paint. They just completely took over Akron, both their defense and the offense. And one of the things that I saw was, we're talking about the last topic, we started to see Keith Dambrot really subbing too many players. And when Pat Forsyth was really going, he subbed in Isaiah Johnson, once again only finished with 1 rebound. He puts in Reggie McAdams when Jake Kretzer hit a 3. And it's just, he's halting basically the hot streak of everyone. And if he didn't do that in the first half, we would have seen a game that we didn't even say the word outlast.
Well, yeah, what I took away from the game is, great, we won. But in a type of win like this, you look at the problems. Noah Robotham was 1 of 10 from three-point line. He's shooting around 33, 34% from out there. Why is Noah taking 10 shots from outside the arc? Pat Forsyth was, 6 of 8? He finished with 17 points. Why isn't Pat getting more touches? Why isn't he getting more than 8 touches in the paint? For them to win and for them to go into the MAC, one, they need Noah to be more of a facilitator, in my opinion, and stop taking all these 3-points. 1 of 10's not going to get it done.
And with Noah Robotham and also Antino Jackson, another young rookie for them, is both of them are freshmen. They want to get experience, and I think Keith Dambrot's trying to get them experience. We all know the loss of Demetrius Treadwell, and now we need someone to really step up on this team. At the beginning of the season, it was Noah Robotham. But now, you got to remember, he's a freshman, and not many freshmen immediately take over a team, especially in the Mid-American Conference.
I think what you guys are both saying plays into the first topic. We're talking about Dambrot putting in players that don't necessarily, they're not part of the starting 5, but I think if it's a game that we know we're going to handedly win, I think he's taking advantage of that opportunity to get other players experience. So
you say handedly win. I look at this game; it was tied 24-all at half.
We're supposed to handedly win.
Yeah. But you take a look at Ball State. Ball State played with 7 guys?
7. That's
so
correct.
You have Ball State playing with 7 guys. We outlasted them. Why? Because we're a deeper team. But you go into the MAC tournament, you can't be having Noah take all these shots from out behind the arc, and you need to start putting Pat in more positions to where he could lead this team to win.
And one other thing is that we shouldn't be still really trying to experiment with the starting lineup halfway through the season. This should have already been settled in the first 10 games of the season. Keith Dambrot has done this a lot, try to really be sort of new, and other teams don't know the same thing, but it's this kind of thing that only needs to be set the first 10 games, not the halfway through.
I agree.
All right, guys. Well, Sartaj and Ben, thank you so much for all of your insight, and thank you all for joining us here on Full Court Press. For ZTV Sports Report, I'm Elliot Georgiadis.
Lots of plays this week, but we certainly know you are too busy to go through them all. So Daniel Cermak has compiled his top 5 plays of the week for your entertainment.
ZTV Sports Report's top plays for Show 1 for spring semester. Let's get it started here with number 5. Senna King had a huge performance, turning in 29 points and grabbing 11 rebounds. Her 29 points equaled a career high, and it was a performance that helped her earn MAC East Player of the Week. But the Zips fell short to Ball State with a final score of 79-77. Next up at number 4, we have another huge performance, but this time from Reggie McAdams of the men's basketball team, who turned in a career high 31 points. McAdams' previous career high was 20 his freshman year, and just a little helpful hint for MAC teams, you might want to go. Now at number 3, we have big Pat Forsyth, who looks more like SWAT Forsyth, here with a big block against Central Michigan. All right, we're on to number 2. McAdams might have scored 31 points against Central Michigan, but the 6 points from Niles Evans proved crucial, including this three with just over 30 seconds left in the game, putting the Zips up 4 and secured an 82-76 victory. And now, on to number 1. Here we have a guy who's been all over the place lately and definitely has some microwave signature skill equipped. It's DG Batayo. Here is a steal, which is nice, and then he's in the open court, and I think everyone knows what's coming next, and he throws it down with one hand, and an honorable mention goes to Aaron Jackson with a nice celebration. This has been Daniel Cermak for the ZTV Sports Report's top plays of Show 1. See you next time.
Certainly another interesting week in Akron athletics.
Seemed to fly by fast as we have reached the end of our program.
We thank you all for joining us, but stay tuned. More ZTV Sports Report is coming to a television near you.
Thanks, everyone. I'm Casey Hotchkiss.
And I'm Sartaj Ojala.
See you next time.
The following program was produced by an independent producer not affiliated with ZTV. The views or opinions expressed in the show do not reflect the views of ZTV or the University of Akron.